Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to a brand new sound design tutorial. Today we're going to be learning how to make a standard deep house bass. We made one for Massive for the Oliver Heldens type sound. Today we're going to be making it for Sylenth 1. It's not going to be the Oliver Heldens sound, but it's probably used by him, to be honest, because deep house basses don't have that much difference to them. All I could tell you about them is that they're really all filtered, and that's the way you achieve that sound. So the sound we're going to be creating today sounds like this. Okay, so today we're going to be making that sound. If you guys want to stick around and learn how to make it, by all means. As always, you can download these sounds at my evilsounds.com page, and as well as you can find some free sound packs and all that stuff. Don't forget to like the Facebook page of SoundWorld and Evolution of Sound, and let's get started. So, in Oscillator 1, we have 7 voices for a saw with the retrig on. As I've explained before, anytime I make a type of bassy sound, that's going to be the bottom. I always try and keep it an odd number, because for me, odds usually work well with bass lines, and like I said before, I call this bro science, so it just works for me. There's no data to back it up, but for me, 7 odd numbers always work well with basses. We're going to be reducing that an octave, so you can see this is going to be the low end of our sound. It's going to be a saw with 7 voices. We're going to put the phase at 161.14 degrees, which is stating the changing point is going to change the starting point of my saw. No detunement, stereo all the way, and no panning for that. And then we're going to go to amp envelope A, where we have our decay and sustain at a value of 4.25 and a bit of release at 1.94. So if you guys have heard deep house basses, they sort of tend to have like a tail. Not that long, but it's there, and that's where we're putting some release. In Oscillator A2, we have this one pitched up an octave, so this is going to be the high end of our sound, even though this sound doesn't really have that much high end. But this is what's going to make it be audible. And our retrig is on this one. 4 voices, even number for the top layer. And then we have an H-pulse type wave, which is a variant of the pulse, which is a square. Our phase is at 78.86 degrees, so we're changing the starting point on this as well. No detunement, stereo full, and no panning for that one. Now we go into the bread and butter of deep house. If you hear deep house, it doesn't sound that open compared to trance and like big room house. So it gives like that vibe. So the way you create those vibes is going to be through filtering, proper filtering, and knowing when to use resonance and how to apply it. So in our filter A, we're going to put input select A because we're just using part A. We're going to have our cutoff at 194.31 hertz. And then we're going to increase our resonance to 3.10. As I've explained before, our resonance is going to be that point before that frequency is going to get filtered. So if you notice, as soon as I filter, that high point is now filtered as soon as I move it. So that's the resonance point. That's the best way to explain it. And it gives you a very, very type of, let's just say, experimental sound. And a lot of the times when you apply an envelope with resonance, they tend to work great. A lot of acid type sounds are created that way. So we have a low pass. We're going to increase the drive to 4.67. Whenever you put resonance on, it tends to lower the volume of your sound, so we make up for it with our drive there. We're going to have a 24 dB type filter, which is going to cover more than the 12 dB type, and it's a name, pretty common sense. In filter control, we're going to put the cutoff at 2.84 hertz, our resonance at 3.38, a little bit of key track. So the lower we go in the piano roll here, the more that a filter is going to get open a tad bit to make up for going down there. And next, we're going to apply some word drive on. Put it there, where we had it, around there. And then what we're going to do is another important part, and this is going to make the bass sound pretty nice and mellow. We're going to put our cutoff AB here, and then we're going to turn the black knob to 2.57. So what's going to happen here is we're going to use an envelope in order to make the filter open up. Our decay is set to 2.99. Our sustain at 1.61 and our release at 1.15. So if I were to show you guys what this is doing, it's going to do it whenever you press a key. It's going to open up, go down to a sustain level, and then it's going to go down to the release. The release is going to decide how long it takes to go back down to the original value that I had. Okay, so once I have that, we're going to apply some distortion. It's going to be a clip type distortion. Amount of 2.48, full, dry, and wet. We're going to put a 1-pole EQ. And we're going to leave the bass and the bass frequency by default. We're going to put some EQ treble at 10.29 dB. So we're going to boost by 10.29 dB at the frequency of 90.67 hertz. We're going to put some reverb, but we're not going to have like that huge decay on it. So our size is going to get reduced down to 0.69. Fully width, our reverb dry and wet is at 43%, and we're going to apply some pre-delay at 91.43%. 91.43 milliseconds. Finally, we're going to the compressor where our ratio is set to 3.88 to 1. Threshold set to 12 o'clock. A little bit of attack to conserve the transient of our sound. And we're going to have a little bit of a release at 150.70 milliseconds. So we capture and we compress the full sound. Alright, so once we have that, we're just going to boost mix A. And we're pretty much going to be done. We're going to set the mono legato here onto S mode, which is slide. And our legato set to 4.05. And we have ourselves... And if you guys want, you can open it up a tad bit, but you will lose the punchiness of your bass. And you can reduce the cutoff too. Alright guys, so as always, you can download this preset on evilsounds.com, and I'll see you guys next time.